Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at the next tool down the list. So last time I looked at the shapes, now we're going to look at the Draw Bezier tool. Now this is quite a complex tool, but it's also very simple. Just like any tool, once you click onto it, so if I don't have anything selected, I've got these toolbars up here, but if I click the Bezier tool up the top, I've got some different tools that I can use. If you hover over them, it tells you a wee bit about them. I'm going to be using the spiral one later maybe, and there's B-spline, but it's probably the first one that you're going to use for most things. So the way that it works is that once you click and then move your mouse, it then draws a path. So you can draw really complex shapes like this, or you can just draw a simple rectangle like this. Once you've actually made it though, you've still got some flexibility in what you can do with it. Just like in the video where we talked about these tools, if we click onto it and then click these arrows, you can move things about, and if you double click it really fast, then you can move the points that you have already drawn and totally change the object that you drew. You also have the tool here that says edit paths by node, and that's just a different way to get to it rather than double clicking. So if I select them, I can then delete them, and we'll look at fill and stroke again. So it's just like any other shape. Once you've made it, you can then go to stroke and you can add in a stroke, or you can go to fill and you can add in a fill, change the size of the stroke, all the same things we've done. But you've also got the possibility of, if you just draw a simple shape like this and double click, then it'll complete that shape without actually you joining them all together, and you can still change the fill and the stroke and do all the other stuff. So where things get a wee bit complicated is when you want to do curves. So this time when I click and then click and hold my mouse and then drag it, it will still put that point where I clicked, but then it will draw a curve. And then you can still draw straight lines, and again if you click and hold, then it will draw that shape as a curve. And if you keep clicking and dragging, then you can keep drawing it like this. Now you might be thinking you can do loads of different shapes with this, but the main reason why you would use this is so that you can draw around shapes. So you could either create your own vector or cartoon image of this pineapple, but what you probably want to do is you probably want to see how to actually just cut this out. So the way that we would cut this out is we need to use the tool to draw over it, and then we use a command up here to cut out that shape. And this tool actually works with all the other tools that we've used, but it's the one you would be using the most is the Bezier tool. So I'll quickly show you how that works. So if I just wanted to roughly chop this out, so if I wanted to just click up here and I want to remove everything else, so I've drawn a shape that includes the thing that I want to keep, and I'm going to select the image itself as well. So I've selected them both, and I've done that by clicking shift. Then if you go to object and clip is sort of another word for cut, and then you do set or set inverse. I think set inverse is what we want here. Yep, so it just cuts it out, everything out that was just in that shape. So it's even done that diagonal there as well. So if I want it very accurate, so if I drew some colour underneath here, then you'll see that it's not actually cut out the whole shape, it's just cut out, it's still got some of the white, and you probably want to remove the white, so I'll show you how to use that. So this time when I draw it, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to try and be as accurate as I can. The further you zoom in, so if I hold control, I can get really detailed with it. So that was control and then my scroll wheel. And then I'm just moving it by clicking my scroll wheel. So here's where you could get fancy and you could start clicking and dragging, but with something that's not this higher quality, then you can get away with just doing regular clicks. and then complete it. And I'll zoom back out by holding Control. And I'm going to do the same thing where I click and hold Shift and click to select them both. Object, clip, and set. And that's how you remove the white background. Quickly go over this Spyro tool. So here, this is like as if you're always clicking and holding. And this is quite good for cutting out images as well. Especially if you go around quite slow, you can get really complex things. And remember, when you're going round the object, if you've missed a bit and you want to get a wee bit closer, you can go to this Edit by Paths tool afterwards, and you can move things about again. So once you've drawn it, it's not the end of the world to go back, and you can still change things using that tool. So you could do a full hours-long video on this with all the different possibilities, but I think for the first thing that you want to do is to cut out an object. Remember, selecting them both, hold Shift, Object, Clip, and then Set. Alright, so have a play about with that. Good luck.